The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahala. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination.
The exclusive franchisee of Cochin Kala Bhavan in Bahrain. With over a decade of existence in Bahrain, exclusive online regular classes have started for classical dances, music vocal, instrumental music, cinematic dance, Kathak, Zumba body fitness, karate and yoga, drawing, arts and craft, children's theatre. For more information, please call 3909 6845 39.
A proficient and skilled physician with over 20 years of experience in clinical medicine and hospital operations. The man who steers Kim's Health, the private healthcare facility which assures affordable and holistic care. Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah. Heading the multinational healthcare organization operating in 6 geographies with 27 hospitals and medical centers, Dr. Sharif, a passionate and practicing doctor, finds time to treat patients alongside his busy administrative schedule. Prior to his current role as the Group Chief Executive, Kim's Health, Dr. Sharif was based in Boston, the United States, where he held multiple leadership positions, including President of the Medical Staff at a multi-specialty hospital and Regional Medical Director for a national healthcare management company. Born in Trivandrum, India, Dr. Sharif moved to Saudi Arabia at the young age of 5, where his father, Dr. Mohammed Ilyas Sahadullah, was working as a doctor for Aramco. He completed his education at the Aramco School and the Kodaikanal International School before attending Tufts University School of Medicine in Boston. After receiving his medical degree, he joined the University of Michigan for a postgraduate residency program in internal medicine and returned to Boston and took a job as a hospitalist, a newly emerging specialty in internal medicine focusing on patient care. Dr. Sharif has achieved remarkable successes in his medical career. After co-directing the hospital medicine program at the Falmouth Hospital, he went on to become the medical director of St. Joseph Hospital in Nashua, New Hampshire. His professional successes then earned him a regional medical director role at MCare, overseeing hospital medicine departments in 11 states. In his new role at Team Health, Dr. Sharif was awarded the Regional Medical Director, Regional Vice President of the Year award. In addition to his professional accomplishments, Dr. Sharif is an active member of the Society of Hospital Medicine and has received the Fellow of Hospital Medicine, Senior Fellow of Hospital Medicine, and Fellow of the Royal College of Physicians, London. His exemplary work in the medical field was also recognized in 2011 and 2014, where he was named Top Doctor by New Hampshire magazine. Dr. Sharif's family is his foundation. He and his wife, Dr. Amina Malik, an international physician and healthcare consultant originally from Zambia, are proud parents to 3 sons, Azhar, Ariz and Azan, all of whom are active tennis players like their father. Dr. Sharif's parents, Dr. Sahadullah and Dr. Zuhra, and his younger brother Sami lives in their hometown of Trivandrum. Under Dr. Sharif's leadership, KIMS Health has undergone a major transformation from rebranding to digital transformation, international accreditation, and clinical expansion. Tonight on Biztalk from BMC Global Life, a show which features success stories of business leaders, we have with us the man who continues to guide KIMS Health forward, Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah. An exceptionally experienced physician with over 2 decades of expertise in clinical medicine and hospital operations. The man who heads a multinational healthcare organization spread across 6 geographies, an identity that is dear to Bahrain residents, the KIMS Health. Joining me on this episode of Biztalk from BMC Global Life, it is the Group Chief Executive of KIMS Health, Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah. Good evening, Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, and thank you for having me on the show.
Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
Doctor, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. And KIMS is very close to everyone in Bahrain. Not that a hospital being close is a good thing, yet, the feel-good atmosphere that most of us get in KIMS, because I am a resident of over 22, 24 years in the kingdom, and there was a time when we did not have an option other than the regular health centers, and that's when KIMS came in as a blessing and a boon. So, as how expatriates or even residents now look up to the facilities, the private healthcare facilities in the country, and how it has come a timely help. Now, let's talk on that to begin with. The identity that the KIMS Health has carved for itself in the kingdom. How do you look at it over these years?
So, if I look back in, over 2 decades ago when my father, who is our chairman, Dr. Sahadullah, was establishing KIMS, and as you know, KIMS stands for Kerala Institute of Medical Sciences, and he had intended, he was here in the Middle East, he was in Saudi Arabia, and he had intended to go back to India and start a hospital of international standards, mainly focusing on healthcare quality and patient safety, perhaps something that wasn't quite there in the private sector at that point in time. Mm-hmm. And it was quite by chance that we decided to start something here in Bahrain, mm-hmm. with local partners. He had come for a visit here, and they decided to start something. And I think because KIMS in India had established itself in a very short period of time, so there was even early on a brand recognition of KIMS, and Kerala Institute of Medical Sciences over the years got shortened to KIMS because that was a mouthful. But because of that, we were able to succeed, fairly quickly. There was a demand. Mm-hmm. There was a huge expat Indian population here, mm-hmm. and so we were able to meet that demand. And we were one of the first private healthcare facilities, medical centers in the community here. And so I think we were well received, and we're grateful for that. And early on, also, we established those same quality initiatives as we did in India, and we were one of the first centers here on the island to be accredited by the Australian Council of Healthcare Standards International, ACHSI, as a accreditation body for healthcare facilities.
Right. You rightly said KIMS was the first, perhaps, the private healthcare center in the kingdom. And over the years, 20 plus years now we have a handful of choices out there. How do you mark KIMS different from the rest? I'm not asking like how do you compete, because we need a balance in the society, as we know, and especially in times like these, n number of hospitals, we need it.
Right.
But how do you define KIMS different from the rest of the players in the field?
Yeah, so, some of you may be aware or not aware. So KIMS Health here on the island, KIMS Health is the parent company. We have two brands. One is KIMS Health itself, and one is Royal Bahrain Hospital. And they both fall under the umbrella of KIMS Health. And we've always positioned KIMS Health as an affordable care institution with quality at the focus. And Royal Bahrain Hospital's positioned slightly differently. It's a premium facility, but again, it has quality as its focus. And so for us as a healthcare organization, we look at providing the spectrum of healthcare delivery. So primary care, secondary care, tertiary care, all of which we do here within our facilities, and then looking at quaternary care. Now, we don't do quaternary care here, and by quaternary care, I mean things like, heart transplant, kidney transplant, liver transplant, bone marrow transplant, those type of things. Highly advanced neurosurgery or highly advanced interventional radiology. We're doing those things at our facilities in Trivandrum, our flagship hospital in Trivandrum. But everything else we do here. And then post-acute care is also part of that spectrum. And we provide home care, and we are looking at establishing a rehabilitation program as well. So by doing that, then we're covering all of our bases in terms of the healthcare needs of the community. And you just mentioned about, we are right in the tertiary care level, isn't it? Correct.
How do you look at Bahrain's positioning in this healthcare segment, the regional map as such? How do you see the advancement possibilities? Of course, we have Salmania, which is again a tertiary care center. What would be the next level? How do you see the kingdom opening its door to such levels? So the advanced care that you just mentioned, because right now we don't have such options. People have to travel abroad, wherever it is. Do you see that future for Bahrain?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Now, we're a little challenged because we're talking about a very small population. So to bring advanced services, advanced equipment, that type of investment, there needs to be, a sizable population to be able to offer those services to. And so in that way, perhaps the Bahrain population is not enough to sustain that. However, if we are able to do that in the private sector and attract people to Bahrain, I think it becomes a win-win situation. So those specialized services, there is obviously a need for it because we don't want people to travel outside.
Indeed,
so I kind of look at it as reverse medical tourism. Rather than people going outside for medical tourism, let us, because we have such a large network of doctors and facilities, let us bring the experts here and attract people from outside into Bahrain.
I was about to ask you on that.
For us as well as for Bahrain.
Especially, I think the kingdom has the medical tourism plans for its future, isn't it? Great. And also, you mentioned about your father thinking in terms of Bahrain 20 years ago. Why do you think that was? Have you ever had a word with him? Because 20 years ago, Bahrain is small, beautiful island, but yet 20 years ago, the GCC was vast. Why Bahrain? Did you ever had a word with him on that?
Yeah, so, the story is that...
Sorry to cut you. I think Bahrain is your regional headquarters,
so Bahrain
isn't it?
has become our regional headquarters. So the story is that, when he had actually come, I believe, for discussion along the lines of nursing recruitment, because we have a nursing college in India.
Okay.
And he had come under that context, and the person he was supposed to meet, I think one of the undersecretaries of health, was not available to meet, and so he said, "Okay, that's fine," and the person who he was with had introduced my father to Mr. Jawhari, who's now one of our local partners with us here and across the GCC. And so Mr. Jawhari and he said, let's go and meet the Minister of Health. And then they were talking, and the Minister of Health gave permission to start a hospital.
Okay.
And so they walked out, and at that time my father said, I'm not quite ready to start a hospital. Let's start with a medical center. Let's start on a smaller scale. But then when he went back to look at all the permissions and the processes, they all said, well, the permission is for a hospital, so you have to start a hospital. So anyway, they were able to get that changed to a medical center, and then that's how the partnership started. So I always say it's a little bit of serendipity that that this whole thing occurred. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have been here in the Middle East.
Yeah. And that is a blessing to Bahrain, because Kim's Health, as I said in the beginning, is a name that's close to all of us. And with me tonight on Biztalk is Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah. Let's take a short break. Welcome back to Biztalk from BMC Global Live, and with me tonight is the elegant Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah. Doctor, now, I would like to hear from you personally and also the audience. Take us through your journey with KIMS. I'm sure you started at a very young age with the group, isn't it?
No, not at all.
Really?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
All right.
I was never part of the group, never intending to be part of the group.
Okay.
I was, I spent most of my life in the U.S. So when my father started the hospital in India, I'd come for the inauguration, but was never involved in the organizational planning. I was quite settled in the U.S., had my job, my practice. I was working for a national healthcare company and practicing medicine at the time. So I really had no intentions of coming anywhere outside the U.S. Over the years we talked a little bit, and I think even in like 2009, 2010, my dad had asked me, would you be interested? And at that time I said, no, I don't think it's going to, work out for me. I'm not interested in leaving the U.S. And, by that time I had over 25 years,
Okay.
had already been in the U.S. And um, then, over the years, as we had kids, I thought it would be good to at least try it out. There were some changes occurring within the organization. At that time, we had private equity partners. They were exiting. A new set of private equity partners were coming in. So, and with what was going on with work in the U.S., we said, okay, kids are young. Let's move, try it for a couple of years, and if it doesn't, work out, we can always move back. The kids are still young enough that we can always move back. So that was the context in which we moved here in 2015, and that was really the only time I became involved, ingrained with.
I really
the
thought you were
hospital.
part of it, only you moved to Bahrain in 2015.
Well, I mean, I was a part of it in the sense that I personally was an investor. I was on the board, but I wasn't really involved on a day-to-day basis, or other than the strategic approach in terms of board discussions. I wasn't involved otherwise.
I'm sure you're liking it now.
Yeah, it was I think it was a challenge. The move was a difficult one for us. I thought the kids would have a hard time adjusting. I think we had a harder time adjusting. Not anything bad in any way. It's just when you're accustomed to doing
It's a
things
change, yeah.
in a certain way, and you move to a different country. It's very different. So. Now, we're settled in, the kids are settled in, I'm busy with work, my wife's busy with work.
And Bahrain has its charm, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And so it's been great so far. As I said, now as the kids growing up, they get to see their grandparents a lot more often, which was difficult when we were in the U.S.
U.S., yeah.
My parents live in India, but my in-laws live in Africa. So, for both sets of grandparents, it's much closer.
It's easier access.
For us to see them and for the kids to see them.
Great. Doctor, tell us about KIMS at the moment in Bahrain. Like, how many facilities do you have, how many hospitals, and what are your future plans?
So, when we look at the facilities that we have now, we have two facilities that are hospitals. We have KIMS Health Hospital, which is recently built in Umm Al Hassan, and Royal Bahrain Hospital, which was built in 2011. And we have medical centers in each of those respective names. So in Janabia, we have RBHMC, Royal Bahrain Hospital Medical Center. And our original medical center, which is still in Al Hassan in KIMS Health name, another KIMS Health in Muharrak, and one in Askar.
Okay.
The one in Al Hassan, which was the original center, we've taken the doctors from there, and we've moved them largely to the hospital. And we are revamping, and we've reopened after some renovation, the KIMS in Al Hassan. We've opened a dialysis center there. We've opened an infusion center there, and there'll be other additional services that are offered. The infusion center is both for things like chemotherapy, as well as infusions for wellness, different packages for infusions for wellness, and as I said, the KIMS Health product is looking at affordable care, and I think there'll be a lot more people accessing private health care with the national insurance plan being rolled out over the course of this year and next year. RBH, what we're looking to do is, it's been over a decade now, 12 years in our current structure, and so we're, there's probably no inch of space that's not gone utilized there, and so we're starting to outgrow that facility, and so we are looking at a new facility to expand into. And as you said, there are a lot of competitors here in Bahrain, and everyone is fighting for the same piece of the pie.
Yes.
And so our objective is really let us look at offering more advanced services that are not available in the private sector. And that'll really be the objective with the new RBH facility.
Great. All the very best to that venture. We are out of the pandemic phase for sure, though we are still fighting the unseen enemy out there. But yet, COVID was a time when KIMS had made a difference to the healthcare facility. Allow me to say that, because your brand new hospital was opened as a COVID center, isn't it? Tell us about that journey. How was it?
Yeah, so we thought, you know, it's important for us as a healthcare organization in the country to do our part in fighting the pandemic. I think the government of Bahrain and the National Task Force for COVID did an amazing
Indeed,
job.
definitely.
And, you know, I contracted COVID while I was in the U.S. Over the summer of, I think, 21. But, you know, in some ways I would have felt a lot more comfortable had it been here
In Bahrain.
Bahrain, because the care provided was, you know, very structured. Everyone, you know, each individual was managed through the national system, so they did an exceptional job. But we thought it was important that we did our part. So even before the construction was complete, we finished off the inpatient floors. So there was still construction going above and below.
I remember.
And we opened it up for COVID inpatient care. And we partnered with the National Task Force, the MOH, the government, and we opened it up for, you know, private patients to come in and be seen and admitted. And we provided up to critical care. So we didn't have any ventilated patients at the hospital, but, you know, those still requiring high level of oxygen we took care of, and all the medical needs that we took care of. I personally supervised the medical care that was provided there, and, you know, we would round on the patients with the doctors there daily, just discussing them. And then, you know, that first wave subsided, and we continued. You know, the hospital emptied out. We continued with constructing the remainder of the hospital, and we started the operations in January of 21, moving the outpatient department there as well. And then the second wave took place, and so we opened it up again.
Okay.
And while the outpatient was working, we had, you know, everything isolated, airflow, everything.
That
you know, patient
one floor,
flow.
right?
Yeah, we had one floor that we again opened up again for COVID care, and again we partnered with MOH and the National Task Force, and we had patients diverted to KIMS Health, and we were full. Both times we were full. Then we were approached later about outpatient. Could we provide outpatient care perhaps for those who were not required to be hospitalized,
in the hospital,
but evaluate them, treat them. If they needed inpatient, then obviously refer them to inpatient, but at least as initial screening and treating facility. So again, a portion of our KIMS Health Medical Center in Al Hassan, the original one, we closed off and we converted that into an outpatient COVID center. Then we ran that for a couple of months, and then we were requested that we move our doctors to the convention center, the older convention center. And so that when they opened that up, so then we had helped to staff that. We moved our doctors there. We continued there, and we continued the hospital until things died
Settled
down after
down,
the
yeah.
second wave.
Right. And that was a time when we really saw the partnership of the public-private healthcare sector. And that brings me to my next question. You are heading a segment which is very crucial, socially crucial sector, which is healthcare, and a brand which has made a name of its own. How do you look at the role of private healthcare sector in today's scenario, in a changed world, when the norms have changed, especially in this region? How do you think you can step up the game?
Yeah, so one of the challenges with healthcare is that the cost of healthcare is rising. And there is absolutely no point that everyone is trying to do the same thing. And I think that's where some of the public-private partnership can come into play. Given our scale of operations, we have the ability to really offer affordable care. And so we are in discussions with government entities for certain services to look at in terms of how we as Kim's Health can provide those services in collaboration with the government. I can't go into detail on that just yet because we're just in the discussions of that. But I think it is something that will benefit the patients, benefit the government, benefit the community in general, and allow us to provide more seamless health care.
Great. And the country, the kingdom that we just mentioned about, the very testament that you said you would have been more comfortable here than in the US when you were. We all agreed to that, you and me are on the same boat. Tell us about the situations as a private healthcare investor in the country. How do you look at Bahrain's climate?
I think
the business climate.
Yeah, the business climate, we've had from the very beginning a very close relationship with the EDB, and they've definitely helped us grow and facilitated our investment here. Bahrain is a very easy place to do business, especially as an international investor. And healthcare is one of those things, because we're a corporate, it's important for us to have the ownership rights. And so in healthcare, 100% international ownership is permitted. And so that's why we've established our headquarters here in Bahrain. And our investments through two other GCC countries comes out of our entity here in Bahrain.
The other GCCs are?
So the other places we are at is we have a presence in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in UAE, and in Oman.
Okay, all right, okay. So salutes to the royal leadership, and of course a word on the National Health Regulatory Authority, please.
Yes, so I have to be careful also what I say about the National Health Regulatory Authority because my wife works there. But
yes.
But that aside, under Dr. Mariam's leadership, we've definitely seen the NHRA grow and thrive, and we work very closely with them in partnership, and they've really established a structure for private healthcare facilities to work under, and then their accreditation system as well that they've implemented, and they've been able to roll that out very quickly, and now that has become ISQA recognized, and so I think that's a great achievement. So they've really advanced healthcare delivery here and quality healthcare delivery here in Bahrain.
Yes, the NHRA definitely deserves an applause, and Dr. Mariam, if you're watching us there, a shout out to you. That's Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah with us on Biztalk from BMC Global Live. Let's take a short break.
The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahala. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination.
Welcome back to Biztalk once again, and this is Raji with you, and joining me tonight is Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah. Doctor, you just mentioned about having to be, to be careful because your wife works with NHRA.
I was joking, but
I know that. So that brings me to Mrs. Amna Sharif, right? Tell us about your family, please.
Sure. So my wife, Dr. Abda Malik, she's from Zambia.
Okay.
She's of Indian origin, but third generation Zambian. She was born and brought up there. She studied in the UK, went to med school in the Czech Republic, did her master's in public health at Boston University in Boston, and just finished her MBA at Oxford. So she's done this in the midst of having and raising 3 kids, which
three
is
boys.
Three boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 3 boys. They're 16, 14, and 12 right now, and so she is truly the backbone of our family.
Great. 3 boys in their teenage and a hospital to run, and I think you're totally into administration, right? Do you
I still
miss,
practice.
all
No,
your
I
practice?
still
Okay.
practice. Nowhere as close to
What you
what
used
I
to.
used
Okay.
to, and so I miss that. I think being a doctor is, what I trained to do, and I don't think that I would ever give that up completely. I think I would miss it. I'm still involved in all the clinical meetings that take place and the reviews and things like that. But I do have a small patient pool that come to see me regularly.
All right. You're right when you said Dr. Amna runs the show, for sure, because we women are born to do that.
Absolutely.
But besides all this, do you have some hobbies, passions? I know you're still busy. Though you have Amna by your side, you're still busy with many things. But what are your hobbies? What do you do if you have any free time at all?
Yeah, my free time, I'm a tennis player.
Okay.
So I used to play tennis in college in the U.S. And haven't been able to get out on the court as much as I'd like to. But that's a great stress reliever for me, just to go out and hit some balls and maybe take some frustration out on the tennis balls. Not on my tennis racket, but on the tennis balls.
Doctor, what is your vision for Kim's Health?
So again, I think for us here in the GCC, we would look at increasing our services, and growth in the region is something that's definitely planned. I mean, we have a substantial presence here in Bahrain. We would be looking at additional growth in other GCC countries. For us, our vision statement is to be a healthcare organization of excellence that transforms lives through exceptional care. So I would like to think that we will always be able to provide that exceptional care.
That was a great evening chat. Doctor, can I have your wrapping comments? We are at the BIMC studio. We are indeed proud to host you this evening. Your comments, please.
No, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for the audience for listening in. We would not have been successful here in the GCC if it wasn't for our growth here in Bahrain, and I want to thank the people of Bahrain, the community, and most importantly, the government entities, and the leadership of Bahrain for welcoming us and for having us here. And we've only been able to be successful because of this relationship that we have with Bahrain.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That was an insightful journey over a conversation with a man at the helm of a healthcare facility that contributes meaningfully to the dynamic healthcare industry in the kingdom. Group Chief Executive of KIMS Health, Dr. Sharif M. Sahadullah, on Biztalk from BMC Global Live. Until we meet next week with yet another guest, this is Rajiv Unikrishnan signing off. Good night. Thank you, Dr. Sharif, for joining us. We have a small token of appreciation from the MC. I call upon Mr. Francis, the Chairman and Managing Director, to give you that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That's really nice. Thank you so much.
You need to come this way.
The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened.